Goswami on the debate.
Good evening and welcome. One of the lesser focused on subjects this week was, however, in my view, a very important development in the Supreme Court, which did not get enough time in court perhaps, and which was dismissed, but which was very important nevertheless, when Subramaniam Swamy and Vishnu Shankar Jain filed a petition asking for the removal of the following words from the preamble of the Indian Constitution. The first word, secularism. The second, socialism. Subramaniam Swamy and Vishnu Shankar Jain wanted the court to ask for the deletion of the word secular and the word socialist from the preamble. The Supreme Court, while rejecting their petition, said that socialism can also mean fair opportunity, a concept of equality. It's not a modern concept, and asked in counter that do you not want India to be secular? That's the question the court countered the petitioners with, and eventually the court dismissed their petition. It said there are several provisions which make secularism part of our basic structure. But in a way, that is the point itself. If there are several provisions within the Indian Constitution, if there are different parts of the Indian Constitution, whether the principle of equality, liberty, the freedom to profess one's religion, freedom of expression, etc., which in a way make it clear that the principles of socialism and the principles of secularism are essentially already there within the basic structure of the Indian Constitution and are part of the Constitution in the way it was written pre-1975, pre-emergency, then the question should be, why were these words brought in the first place? Why were the words secular brought in? Why was the word socialist brought in? What is the time when they were brought in? Who brought them in? It was Indira Gandhi. What was the timing? During the emergency, through the 42nd Amendment to the Indian Constitution. Amendment so significant that it came to be called as the mini constitution. Now, on the one hand, Indira Gandhi was bringing in the words socialist and secular, and on the other hand, she was repressing the people of this country through the emergency, putting the entire opposition in jail. So the point really is, viewers, that we in our country have never felt ourselves empowered enough to have a real debate on this issue. I have the highest regard for the Supreme Court. I respect their judgment rejecting the petition of Subramaniam Swamy and Vishnu Shankar Jain today. But the fact is that our forefathers, when the idea of forefathers, those who were the founding fathers of the Constitution, when this whole debate about whether the word secular and socialist should be incorporated into the Constitution in the first place, their argument was against it. It was rejected then because the Constitution already has the principles of secularism and socialism by way of the principles that it advocates. Then why did Indira Gandhi feel the need to bring in the word socialist, to bring in the word secular? I personally believe, ladies and gentlemen, that was a conspiracy by Indira Gandhi and by several politicians after her. Because she knew, and these politicians also know, that in the name of secularism, some of the greatest injustices are being justified in the country. I am not against secularism. I am, however, fundamentally against the various wrongs that are done in this country in the name of secularism. And let me define a few things which have been done in the last 75 years which are against the principles of secularism but defended in the name of secularism. Fact number one, those people who are against the Uniform Civil Code, in the name of secularism, they vehemently oppose the Uniform Civil Code. That is the most progressive bill that will bring in uniformity in the civil code of the country. In the name of secularism, some people oppose it. Most regressive practices like nikah halala, where small children, minors are married to 75 and 80-year-old men, are justified in the name of secularism. It is said these are part of the personal laws of Muslims. However, ladies and gentlemen, it goes against the principles that are espoused in the Constitution. And when there is a challenge between the personal laws of one religion and the principles of the Constitution, without a doubt, the principles of the Constitution and only the principles of the Constitution should prevail. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember that when Rajiv Gandhi overturned the Shah Bano judgment, he did so in the name of secularism. We all know what happened when the Shabano judgment was overturned. It diluted the judgment of the Supreme Court. So judgments of the Supreme Court are diluted in the name of secularism. It put appeasement over women's rights, appeasement over human rights, Muslim appeasement over the rights of women, and that also happened in the name of secularism. It snatched away the right to maintenance of Muslim women, snatched away the right of dignity for Muslim women, millions of Muslim women, and all that also happened in the name, ladies and gentlemen, of secularism. So my point is, viewers, it's so ironical that we are told that under secularism, we must also have people enjoy the luxury of acts like the Places of Worship Act. Now, on the one hand, you have the Places of Worship Act, which says the religious character of any place of worship should continue to be forever what it was on the 15th of August 1947, the day of our independence. However, in the same country, where you have the Places of Worship Act, which is seen to be a finality in itself, you do not want to accept the fact that Hindus were subjected to brutality for centuries in the past, where you do not have the right to worship in Gyanvapi. You do not have the right to talk about Ayodhya till a few years back, but you have the Places of Worship Act. Ladies and gentlemen, there are so many contradictions. I respect the Supreme Court. I bow down to the judgment of their lordships. But I, as a citizen of this country, continue to believe that we need to have a very strong and pivotal debate on secularism, at least on what is true secularism and what is fake secularism or pseudo-secularism. And even if the rest of the media will not stick their neck out on this subject, I believe that this event today, where the Honorable Supreme Court rejected the petition of Vishnu Shankar Jain and Subramaniam Swamy, should be the starting point of such a discussion. And that is my first debate today, a pivotal debate on what is secularism, what it should really entail, and what it should not. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm focusing on two very newsy debates after that, where we have Mallikarjun Kharge, who was disrespected by the Gandhi Vadra family quite openly, some shocking visuals of how he was treated. And the third debate this evening on how the Congress party has lost all leverage and Congress candidates will fight under the Mulayam Singh Yadav's party, Akhilesh Yadav's party, Samajwadi Party in Uttar Pradesh. The fall of the Congress is my third debate, and here are the headlines this Thursday evening on the Debate Tonight. Family first for Gandhis, always it's getting clear by the day. Is Kharge nothing but a puppet, a figurehead for the Congress party? The Congress party president has been blatantly insulted and sidelined, as alleged by the BJP, as this video shows how he was deliberately kept waiting, forced to peep through the door, as Priyanka Gandhi Vadra filed her nomination in Wayanad yesterday. Haryana, Jharkhand, Maharashtra, and now Uttar Pradesh, the cracks within the India alliance are undeniable. The so-called opposition unity is in complete disarray. Now the Congress is left without even its symbol in Uttar Pradesh. Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav has made it official with a tweet announcing that all Congress candidates will be contesting the by-elections on the Samajwadi Party's cycle symbol across all 9 seats.
And differences must be settled by dialogue and diplomacy, and there should be zero tolerance for terrorism.
On the last day of the BRICS summit in Russia's Kazan, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar talks tough on terrorism, says there is zero tolerance. There should be zero tolerance against terrorism, giving out a message on Russia-Ukraine war. He says dialogue and diplomacy is the solution, not war. Ladies and gentlemen, the debate over secularism. Secularism in the Constitution is intensifying, with pseudo-seculars distorting the true essence of India's secular fabric. The topmost court has examined the whole issue of the constitutional validity of secularism in the Preamble and has upheld it. It has rejected the petition of Vishnu Shankar Jain and Subramaniam Swamy this week. Today, ladies and gentlemen, on a more thematic debate, we look at something very important which I feel news channels should be talking about. Certain remarks by certain political figures which are raising critical questions. Is secularism in India being diluted or being used as a mask? And if so, by whom? Let's debate.
A crucial debate at the Supreme Court. The constitutional validity of adding the word secularism to the preamble is under scrutiny. The plea filed before the Apex Court seeks removal of secularism and socialism from the Constitution. And here's how the heated debate unfolded at the apex court. Justice Khanna, presiding over the two-judge bench, raised a key point, suggesting that both socialism and secularism can have multiple interpretations, asking if India should not remain secular in its definition. Advocate Vishnu Shankar Jain responded, clarifying that the issue is not about questioning India's secular identity, but the amendment that introduced these terms. Justice Khanna explains that during debates on secularism, the French model was the only reference. He emphasizes that India has adopted its own unique approach, as seen in Article 25. Advocate Upadhyay warned that including these terms in the preamble has opened a Pandora's box, raising concerns that terms like democracy could also be altered without the will of the people. Petitioner Subramaniam Swamy, meanwhile, suggested that the preamble could be split into two parts and argued that the people never fully consented to the addition of socialism and secularism. Even as the Supreme Court believes it to be the tenet of Indian Constitution, there is a certain lobby that makes vile comments under the banner of secularism.
और अगर कोई मुसलमान भाइयों के प्रति अगर बुरी नजर कोई देखने का काम करेगा तो राष्ट्रीय जनता दल और तेजस्वी यादव चुप बैठने वाला नहीं, ईंट से ईंट बजा देंगे.
சனாதன எதிர்ப்பு மாநாடு என்று போடாமல் சனாதன ஒழிப்பு மாநாடு என்று நீங்கள் இதை போட்டிருக்கிறீர்கள், இதை அழைத்திருக்கிறீர்கள், இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு பெயரிட்டீர்கள். அதற்கு என்னுடைய வாழ்த்துக்கள். சிலவற்றை நாம் ஒழிக்கத்தான் வேண்டும், எதிர்க்க முடியாது. கொசு, டெங்கு காய்ச்சல், மலேரியா, கொரோனா இதையெல்லாம் நம்ம எதிர்க்கக்கூடாது, ஒழித்து கட்ட வேண்டும். அப்படிதான் இந்த சனாதனம்.
जब बंबई आते हो वो सम्मान क्यों छोड़ देते हो? जब ट्रेनियां पकड़ते हो वहां से तो ये सम्मान लेकर साथ में आओ. कसम है हम सब बैठे हैं ना, तुम्हारा बाल बांका कोई माई का लाल नहीं कर सकता.
Remarks like these have not only exposed the pseudo-seculars but also raised important questions. What is real secularism? Is the definition of secularism tilted?
So when something is being misused, that too must be abolished. Secularism is being misused. And under the garb of secularism, the greatest injustice is happening in this country. The greatest wrongs are perpetrated and the greatest falsehoods are justified. My own view, I want to place it right here in front. I respect the Supreme Court. I believe in secularism. But I believe Indira Gandhi and others like her put in the word secularism so it could be misused, not used. It did not need to be put. The words secular and socialist did not need to be put within the Constitution because, as has been rightly pointed out by the Supreme Court, the principles of secularism and socialism exist within the Constitution. I therefore, without trying to invite controversy, am totally against the 42nd judgment, which artificially brought in the word secular and socialist within the Constitution, not to underline it, but I believe it was brought in with the political intent of trying to undermine the principles of the Constitution and providing some kind of a cover for all the people like Asaduddin Owaisi, like Zakir Naik, and all the other people who continue to do what they are doing today. Who would like to open the debate? 3 versus 3, Vishnu Shankar Jain. Ratan Sharda wants to begin the debate. I'll quickly welcome Vishnu Shankar Jain, petitioner in this case, senior lawyer, Supreme Court, Prafulla Ketkar, well-known author and ex-organizer, editor, America Narayanan backs the Congress, Pulla Rao backs DMK, and Atikur Rahman, Islamic scholar. Ratan Sharda is opening. Ratan Sharda, over to you.
Permit me to give a quotation, then I tell you who made this comment in the Constituent Assembly. We are reminded that this is the country where in past ages great men and great Maharishis gave birth to a great culture. We are reminded that thousands of years ago the leaders and thinkers of this country molded a great nation, extended their culture to all 4 corners of the world and achieved for them a position of prestige. It's a nation which has mantras of Rig Veda and Maharishis who have described the vision of truth. Now this particular quote is by Kamalapati Tripathi, Congress leader who became Chief Minister for UP This is what he thinks about the nation, and this is Constituent Assembly, which means that we believe we are secular despite the word not being there. And not only that, Dr. Ambedkar clearly said we cannot dictate terms to future generation by including socialism in the preamble of the Constitution. Now, is basic structure an evolving structure, or is it a fixed structure we must define? Because secularism, socialism was there in 1976, which means basic structure was changed, and the Supreme Court agrees with it. 1993, collegium became the norm of the Constitution for selection of judges, while it was not there earlier on. Now Supreme Court believes the NJSC breaks the fundamental structure, and we are bound by the 1993 collegium, which is not even an act. Now, further, if you see that entire secularism debate runs on the premise that we don't have secularism. When Constituent Assembly members thought that we do nurture all the cultures, all the religions, right from Syrian cultures to Islamis to Jews and everybody, there is no need for secularism. What has changed? Waqf Act 1954 was secular, then why it was again modified in 1995? That is a fundamental structure. So this issue of secularism being taken as something of secularism test like a Bible or a Quran is not acceptable, because we are an evolving society. Our acceptance of secularism way back after 76, like acceptance of the Supreme Court about the collegium system, shows that we have to keep moving in the time, and these are superfluous words. So socialism clearly is not the creed of the time. In 1991, we threw out socialism. We became more or less capitalist society. So the superfluous word needs not be there.
Yeah,
you are tying down people to an ideology which is dead. You are tying down to people to particular word like secularism, which is imbibed. In 1976, the Indira Gandhi asked Salim Singhi what is the meaning of secularism. He said it's Sarva Pantha Samabhav. It is not the British expression of non-religious. If that was so, then why Queen is also head of the state and also head of the church? And why all the Western countries take oath on Bible and they say we are secular, though that they follow all the Christian traditions?
Viewers, this debate,
so we are in a very hypocritical position where we take position depending on our political convenience.
Top ban only secularism debate. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say the question tonight is whether a debate over true secularism and pseudo-secularism is necessary in this country. Now, many people will say Republic should not be debating these issues. These are settled matters. That is why Republic is different. We do not believe these are settled matters. Society evolves, thinking evolves. We cannot stay stuck into something that Indira Gandhi wanted. I know the other side wants to open the debate. Vishnu Shankar Jain, why did you file this petition? And do you have any options now that your petition has been rejected by the Honorable Supreme Court bench?
See, Arnab, first of all, I would like to clarify that my petition has not been dismissed by the Supreme Court. It is adjourned to 18th of November. The matter was heard before the Supreme Court. Lot of arguments were raised by us before the Supreme Court which were not reported, and I am saying it with lot of sense of responsibility. Many arguments and observations by the bench were not reported, but be that as it may, now let's come to the point.
Such as what we would like to know. I am fully aware that there are websites covering the court which are biased in one direction. Yes. I'm not naming them. These websites should be ashamed of themselves for trying to misrepresent what is happening in the Supreme Court. But you are saying your case is not dismissed, which means that the Supreme Court will continue to hear. And this will become one of the biggest debates in the country. Do you need the word secular at all? What happened in the court which has not been reported?
No, the point is this. What I argued before the court is this.
Yes.
That there is a Constitution Assembly debate on 15th of November 1948, volume number 7, page number 401-402 of B.R. Ambedkar, and I am quoting him, quote and unquote, it cannot be laid down in the Constitution itself because that is destroying democracy altogether. If you state in the Constitution that the social organization of the state shall take a particular form, you are in my judgment taking away the liberty of the people to decide what should be the social organization in which they wish to live. So that is point number one. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was against this word socialism and secularism, and 3 times Arnab, the proposal of K.T. Shah, Professor K.T. Shah, was rejected by the founding fathers of the Constitution. Point number one. The most important point which you have to understand in this debate today is this, that are you forcing the government to be secular, or socialist, or you are forcing the people to be social and secular, socialist and secular. My argument and submission is that the government has to do the governance irrespective of the religion and caste of the people, and in governance there should be no discrimination. We all agree. And so far as that aspect is concerned, no one on this panel can say that government in administration can discriminate between citizens on the basis of religion. The point is this, Arnab. Can you discriminate the citizens? Can you force the citizens of this country? Because if you'll see the preamble, what is written? We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, social, secular, democratic republic. So you have forced the people of this country to imbibe and believe in the principles of socialism and secularism, which is completely unconstitutional. And kindly see, I ask a question today. Whether the followers of Islam, whether the followers of Sanatan Dharma, whether the followers of Christianity can say that all the religions are equal? Can they say? No one can say, because everyone has a right under Article 25 of the Constitution of India to believe that their religion is supreme. My learned friend here, Atikur Rahman, will believe that his Quran, his Hadith is supreme. I will believe that my Gita is supreme. A Christian will believe his Bible is supreme. So how you are forcing me to be secular? You are forcing the people of this country to be secular. And that's the second aspect, second limb of submission, that how the word secularism has been destroyed. And a very important point I want to make here. Today we all are seeing that in the Waqf Amendment Act, opportunities given by constituting a JPC of 31 members. People are going there making their representations and they are being heard. When these two words were introduced in the Constitution, no one was heard. It was in the time of emergency when these two amendments were brought. There was actually no debate in the parliament.
So you're saying these words were brought in by stealth? These words were brought in undercover? These words were brought in through the back door by a dictatorial leader during the emergency?
Not reported by the mainstream, by the websites. All these arguments I made before the Honorable Court, it was not reported.
But what did the court say? Which direction was it going in?
Court said that we will hear what Mr. Sirvai has said in the assembly debates, and we will adjourn the matter to 18th of November. Let's hear this matter on 18th of November. These were the observations. And let me tell you, Honorable Mr. Justice Dipankar Datta, who was part of this bench on the earlier occasion, had said the same thing, that this constitution comes with a cut-off date. That we on this 26th day of November 1949 do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves. So it's a constitution, it's a preamble which is coming with a cut-off date. So how can it be amended? But these things, Arnab, were not reported. These things were not told. The entire reporting is in such a manner that the court is very much against this complete argument, and the court is trying to dismiss the matter.
You see, the argument is this. These actions, and I'll just take 1 minute, of the Congress government were totally political. The intention to bring in secular and socialist was aimed at making Indira Gandhi look secular when she was a dictator, at making her look socialist when her son was an investor in a car company. Let's understand that. Second point, the 1991 Places of Worship Act also was brought in by Narasimha Rao when L.K. Advani was becoming very popular through the Ram Temple movement. And so he brought it in only in the context of Babri Masjid Ayodhya dispute. He wanted to settle the matter through an executive fiat, not through the court process. So he was trying to change, it was a court process, he was trying to avoid the courts. These matters are to be strongly debated, ladies and gentlemen, and please remember, there is only one network in this country which debates these issues, which is, because we are for the Republic, which is Republic. Now, I'd like to hear the other side. Prafulla, I'll come to you. Reference was made to Atik. America wants to come in. Which one of you would like to open the debate on the other side? And I would like any factual counters to what has been said by Ratan Sharda and Vishnu Shankar Jain. Who would like to open?
Okay, it seems other people are keeping quiet. I'll just start it and just for 2 minutes. First thing is the question of whether it's secular. You said, pseudo-secular, you put a brand name for pseudo-secular for us, and that itself is wrong. the pseudo-Hindus are calling the other people pseudo-secular in your title, so I wish you don't do that. The second thing is that today there's a gentleman, a journalist has been arrested, a guy by the name of Langa, Mahesh Langa. This is a democratic country. He's supposed to have kept some documents, and that's the frame, and he was arrested. In a democratic country, when our constitution says, please just give me a minute.
Part of the debate.
Constitution says of a democratic country, a journalist has been arrested for holding some documents.
Louder.
So, in the preamble, the need for secularism is what I'm trying to get at. The need for secularism.
No, I want to just intervene there. I'm not going to take more than 10 seconds. I'm also going to say that as one of the prominent journalists of the country, when I was arrested, your leader Rahul Gandhi made 6 of his leaders, Salman Khurshid, Pawan Kheda, and 7 other leaders, come on a press conference and support the position also taken by the government of Pakistan. So I was astonished that the government of Pakistan welcomed my arrest, and your party joined hands with the government of Pakistan in welcoming my arrest. So don't give a lecture on an arrest of a journalist then. And by the way, the Supreme Court said the case against me was fake. There was no prima facie case against me, despite which your leader, Rahul Gandhi, sent 5 of his leaders to join hands with the Pakistan government to celebrate my arrest only because I interviewed him in 2014.
No, please.
Because I interviewed him in 2014 and he could not face my questions. Because he could not face my questions in 2014 because it ruined his PR image. So he sent 5 people to justify my arrest. And you will come and say today that you want to stand for journalists. On what basis can you say that? Please continue. Please continue.
Look what happens. 10 seconds.
Please continue.
10 seconds? Okay. Now, when the word democratic is there, you know what's happening in this country, and take your own case too. The journalist should have freedom, and it's very important part of the 4th pillar of democracy, and it's in the preamble. Now, without the word secularism, what can happen? That's the first question. The second thing, we are not talking about how it was brought in. We are talking about what does secularism mean. Secularism, I'm reading the definition given in the in the dictionary, Oxford Dictionary, the principle of separation of the state from religious institution. He believes that secularism means no discrimination against anybody in the name of religion, be it a Muslim or a Hindu or a Christian. In this country, we know what is happening in the last several years, specifically in the last decade, religion, how people are being discriminated. Be it a Hindu in some states, be it a Islam in some states and throughout India, or Christians in some states too. This is what we are talking about. That's why the Constitution is not a constant thing. It has to evolve with the time.
Okay, I take your view. I'll get Praful to counter. Ratan Sharda, with respect, let me get Praful to counter because he has not opened his innings. One minute. Praful will counter now. Praful Ketkar, please. Praful Ketkar.
Can I just give...
Sir, can he counter you? I'm taking the debate forward. Praful Ketkar is countering.
Before I start, I continue to be editor of Organizer. I'm not still yet.
Sorry. Editor of Organizer, Praful Ketkar, RSS prominent journalist and a good friend of mine. Sorry.
Arnab, this itself is a wrong proposition. Quoting Oxford Dictionary. Quoting Oxford Dictionary to justify secularism in India is an insult to the constitution makers, because they categorically said that this European idea of separating church from state is not applicable to India, And if Indian concept of Sarva Dharma Samabhava or Sarva Pantha Samabhava, that is equal respect for all religions is there, then we have been practicing this in ancient times. So we don't need this word. Then how did this word brought in?
Please
give me one simple answer. Please give me one simple answer. From 1949 to 1976, there was no word called secularism in Indian Constitution. To make the politics communal, the secularism word was brought in to interpret it as minority appeasement. Please give me an answer. From 1949 to 1976, we were more secular in the state conduct, in our political conduct, or after bringing this word, we have become more secular or more communal? Give me simple answer.
Yeah, okay. So one. I want Atikur Rahman to respond to that. May I get Atikur Rahman to respond to that? What Prafulla Ketkar is asking today? Thank you. What Prafulla Ketkar is asking today? Please adjust your camera there, America. What Prafulla Ketkar is asking today is that after the introduction of the word secular, and have we become more secular or less secular? Now that's very important because Rajiv Gandhi passed the Muslim Women Protection of Divorce Act 1986. The Shah Bano judgment was overturned by Rajiv Gandhi in 1986, which put Muslim appeasement over human rights and women's rights. That happened after the word secular was put. Sonia Gandhi tried to introduce...
One more fact.
Yes.
He made a wrong argument that pseudo-secular was brought in by some pseudo-Hindus. It is a wrong argument, factually wrong. It was Father Anthony Elenjimettum in 1951 called Nehru and his policy towards the refugees coming from Pakistan as pseudo-secular.
I think two very solid points we need to have it countered. And viewers, please remember one point which has not yet been dealt with is the biggest point in the debate, which Vishnu Shankar Jain said, that Ambedkar was against the word secular being introduced. None of the panelists on the other side have been able to counter him. Atikur Rahman, please answer the question put by Prafulla Ketkar this evening.
Entire Constituent Assembly discussed it twice and decided that we should...
I take your point. Let Atikur respond to you now. Let Atikur respond to you now.
Look at the paradox, Arnab. At the one time you say that we need to move on, and we are again, Mr. Ketkar also, Mr. Vishnu Jain also is quoting the Constituent Assembly. Why are you taking secularism as a concept only in a political context? And I have studied secularism, shall I say that since 1857 or much before it, when Babar gave the will to his son that don't kill the cows because it is sacred to Hindu. So I do not take the
audio is not clear. Please fix Atikur's audio. 1 minute. Atikur, your audio is not clear. I'm fixing you back. I'm getting your audio back. Pulla Rao will come into the debate. Vishnu Shankar Jain, wait a minute. We're fixing audios. One person's audio not good, so don't interrupt. Pulla Rao, can you hear me? Pulla Rao, see,
I can hear you.
Your arguments are weak. Your arguments are not factual. Your arguments are not technical. Ambedkar was against the use of the word secular separately, true or false? Was Ambedkar and the entire Constituent Assembly against the introduction of the word secular?
Couple of minutes. You want the Uniform Civil Code? Yes. That came from the Napoleonic Code of 1804. That served the basis for the British Civil Code. You want to dump all of that? Dump it. You will get negative secularism. Then you come to 1950. Let me finish, please. I need 2 minutes. I listen 40 minutes. Then you come to 1958. It is the Constitution of the French Republic which introduced the word secularism. And that's where the whole hijab and dress issue of France is going on. I think Mr. Jain, learned though may be, and Mr. Sharda, maybe you're confusing the issue. You want secularism, and then you don't want its practice. And you want the Uniform Civil Code, and you want to dump the Napoleonic Code. Make up your minds. And Justice Khanna, what did he say?
No, you are confusing, sir.
Let
you
me
are confusing.
I heard
we
you.
are
This is a
asking,
sensible. This is a simple debate. This is a simple debate.
It is
One
a
more
very
sentence.
simple debate.
One more. See, Mr. Ketkar, learn to listen. Learn to listen. Others are listening. Others are listening. You learn to listen. It doesn't matter. No. This is too much.
You support this procedural part.
Let me tell you. Okay, you criticize me later. Justice Khanna, what did he say? Some of these arguments seem to go back to the French Constitution. That's what he said. The French Republic. Go through the proceedings. And I agree with Mr. Jain. November 18th, we'll see more and more openings. But my stance is, if you want the Uniform Civil Code, you can't dump the Napoleonic Code. You can't dump it. You can't dump it.
We don't
all
have
the civil laws
so
of
we
India.
have to go to Constitution.
All the
we
civil
have to
laws
go to the
of India.
Constituent Assembly.
Forget the Constituent Assembly. There have been
We can't because it is the spirit of the Constitution. Our Constitution makers and the Constituent Assembly decided the spirit of the Constitution, not French Revolution.
What Mr. America did not mention, maybe he forgot about it. Why was this idea of secularism in Indira Gandhi's time was because there was a rise of a movement called Anand Margis. Correct or not?
No, I think you are completely confused, Pullarao.
No.
I will have to come in and contradict you. Sorry, Pullarao, you are unfortunately, I don't want to call you names. I never insult people on my program, but you are fully a Macaulay's child. You are a Macaulay's child. Your entire thinking of the world is Macaulay, and if I take you back, you can't go before Napoleon. Please understand, Mr. Pullarao, that the rule of law is the basis of any democracy. It has not been invented by Macaulay. Second, the idea of equality of gender, equality of birth is enshrined in the Vedas, which go many thousand years back before Europe was even civilized. So I don't know what you're talking about. You are just unlinked things. The point is, you're not.
The laws are there.
What?
The laws are there. What are the laws? You want those laws?
What laws? What laws?
Asking Mr. Jain.
What laws?
That's what the Justice Khanna has referred to it or not? To the French.
Justice Khanna, one minute. Just 1 minute. With the greatest of respect, 1 minute. The fact that Justice Khanna has referred to certain French laws / norms / history / background does not mean that the Vedas don't exist.
No, who said the Vedas?
But that's but I'm referring to the Vedas. You can't, I'm sorry. Every reference in the Supreme Court is not the only reference existing in the world.
In irrelevant things, you talk about yourself.
No, 1 minute. The point is, try to make it a philosophical debate because you're losing the political debate. You are losing the political debate. I feel sorry for you. You are not being able to win the political debate. The political debate is more important. This country has to have a political debate on secularism. I'll make it simple for you, Atikur Rahman. For politicians in this country, if you are for Islam, you are secular. If you are for Christianity, you are secular. If you are anti-Hindu, you are secular. You cannot be pro-Hindu and secular. Simple. Simple. Which is why Sonia Gandhi said in the Communal Violence Bill, Hindus are always the perpetrators. Hindus are the evil ones. Hindus are the attackers. Hindus can never be the victims. That is secularism. By which definition, in which world is that secularism? Shabano judgment was secularism.
Arnab,
Atikur?
am I audible?
Atikur?
Am I audible, Arnab?
You are loudly audible. You support Zakir Naik. You support Zakir Naik. Zakir Naik gave money to the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. Was that a secular thing to do? 50 lakh rupees were given by Zakir Naik's NGO to the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. Was that given in the name of secularism? 20 million Bangladeshis have entered India in the name of secularism.
You are narrowing down the debate on secularism.
Of course I will narrow it down.
The primary question which the court asked Mr. Vishnu Jain is that do you want India secular? He fails to answer. And today too he is giving a Western concept of secularism, saying that can Mr. Atikur Rahman say that all religions are equal? It is not this Western concept which India has adopted, Mr. Vishnu Jain. It is equality.
Sorry, Atikur Rahman.
One minute. What Prafulla Ketkar countering right now? Only Prafulla Ketkar countering.
This is absolutely Indian concept. It is Gandhi.
Prafula Ketkar, louder, clear.
Equal respect to all religions. Sarva Dharma Samabhava was the word used.
I want audio for Prafula Ketkar, for God's sake. Louder.
Do you believe that all religions are same and equal? That is Indian concept. Separation of church and state is the Western concept. That is what our constitution makers discuss.
The treatment of all religions equally in the eyes of the government is secularism. That's the Indian concept. Do you agree with it? Do you agree with it?
Audio not clear at all. Please,
Equal
producer.
protection to all religions.
Yeah, but the network, the person has to check the background before. Yeah, I'm losing audio on a very interesting debate. Vishnu Shankar Jain is on the debate. You want me to be specific?
Constitution makers
You want me to be
discuss the Western idea and then say
Vishnu Shankar Jain now. Vishnu Shankar Jain versus.
Can I give some examples?
Yeah, Vishnu
Very
Shankar
interesting
versus
examples
Pulla.
I want to give.
Yeah.
Arnab, there is one provision under section 18 of the Dargah Khwaja Sahib Act. And the provision is that if any offering is made in the Dargah Khwaja Sahib, under Rule 18, I am telling you, it is to be decided by the donor that what is to be done with this offering. No such provision of law is there for any other section of the society, and this provision of law is secular. The entire Waqf Act is a classic example of secularism. Arnab, you will remember and recall that there was hush subsidy which was given in this country, which was struck down by Allahabad High Court in 2007. That was a classic piece of secularism. The Satchar Committee report is a classic piece of secularism. When the Prime Minister of this country said that Muslims have the first right over the resources of this country, it was a classic piece of secularism. There were Akhilesh Yadav government was releasing terrorists in 2013. That was a classic piece of secularism. There was Muhammad Ali Johar University which was opened in Uttar Pradesh. It was a classic example of secularism. Azam Khan, who was a minister in Uttar Pradesh, never took the oath on the constitution and became the minister. That was a classic example of secularism. There are so many laws, Minorities Act 1994, the entire minority politics which is going on is in violation of the principles of secularism. Then also we are secular. The temples are being taken over by the government. So many temples, 35,000 temples in Karnataka have been taken over by the government. We are secular. No mosque or no church in this country has been acquired by the government. And Arnab, I want to ask a last question to Atikur Rahman. Have you ever heard of what, sir? Temple of Justice, Mosque of Justice or Church of Justice? Why there is always called Temple of Justice? Because in Temple of Justice there is always a deity who is sitting. And today we see in the corridor of the Supreme Court, what is the argument which is raised? That this statue of justice, which has been introduced by the Chief Justice of India, must be there is an opposition.
Mr. Jain, now listen to me. You had your say, sir.
Which has been introduced in the museum of the Supreme Court.
Sir, you had your say.
People who are saying in the Supreme Court that in the Supreme Court function you should not come with your temple. You should not come with your. You should not have religiosity on your speech. You are forcing the people of this country to be secular. People are not secular. The government is secular. The government should not discriminate between the citizens.
Louder for Vishnu.
But how can you force me?
Arnab, the arguments which Mr. Jain is quoting right now, I dare him to quote the same thing in the court on the next hearing, and the court will be throwing them off saying you have juvenile arguments. You have juvenile arguments. You cannot describe secularism giving examples of it is nutshell concocted.
Vishnu, louder. He's speaking louder.
And to the irony is that people think the petition has been dismissed. Whatever was argued in the court was not reported properly.
Come on now.
Sir, what you are daring me? You are daring me on a live channel that I'll argue in the court. Definitely I'll argue it. You should have the guts to come and oppose the court. You have the guts to come and in the Supreme Court and come and debate with me in the Supreme Court.
I cannot imagine he argue.
You are daring me. Arnab, he is daring me for a minute, sir. You are daring me that whether I will argue all these things in the Supreme Court. I am daring you. Whether you will come to the Supreme Court and face these arguments. I dare you, come.
No, I ask you
whether you will come to the Supreme Court.
I will do so.
No, sir, please tell me. You dared me. I accepted your dare. I am now asking you whether you will come to the Supreme Court on 18th of November 2024 and face the argument and oppose this.
This is not before the court. The court had asked you a simple question. Will you answer the question?
You are actually governed by the reporting of Mr. Rashid. You are governed by the reporting of Mr. Rashid. Mr. Rashid's reporting is not the Supreme Court's reporting. Mr. Rashid, what he reported in his website is not what happened in the Supreme Court. I'm sorry, sir.
I don't know who is Rashid. I do not know who is Rashid.
I also don't know who Rashid is. I don't know who Rashid is.
A simple question. Do you want
Pularao is saying something. Pularao.
Yeah. You talked about politics. You talked about the need for a political argument. Is such a thing necessary? Secularism has its own positive things, as the judge said. It means everything to everyone. The judge has said that. Why don't we accept that? I appeal to Mr. Jain. He's a great lawyer. I follow him and all that. But why not leave it at that? Why not there be a certain vagueness in our democracy? So that we all get ahead.
Prafulla Ketkar stepping into Pularao. Prafulla Ketkar.
Simple question. From 49 to 75, we were more secular or we have become more communal after introducing this term. If constitution makers had discussed this term and decided not to have it and still have provisions related to minority rights, what was so necessary during emergency when entire opposition was in jail, nobody had demanded, there was no discussion, no voting, and through presidential order, the amendment was introduced and such words. So we have introduced more communalism in the name of secularism because we don't have an organized religious structure, sir. You are following French dictum, but French idea was separation of church and state. What are you going to separate from whom in India? That's why Gandhi was very clear that
religion away from public space, which is what you want, which is what you're fighting for.
Equal respect for all religions by the state has been our idea. Equal respect is the idea. The problem is
now this issue of equal respect, when this issue comes, there is something called the Bharat Joro Yatra. Rahul Gandhi goes and meets a Catholic priest and they say he's a great man, and he says to Rahul Gandhi that Jesus is the real God, not like Shakti. Jesus is the real God, not like Shakti. What happens when there is a word sec? What action is taken against that Catholic priest? Or when Owaisi says that dekh lo kya hone wala hai, we are 20%, you are 80%, we'll teach you a lesson. Or when Tawqir Raza plans a mass conversion ceremony for Hindus. Or Udayanidhi Stalin says, eradicate and abolish Sanatan Dharma. What if Udayanidhi Stalin had said, eradicate Islam, eradicate Christianity, eradicate Sikhism, eradicate Jainism? What would have happened in this country? You see, in the name of secularism, you people have become anti-Hindu. And Hindus are becoming very assertive. You have a problem with that. That Hindus are not taking this rubbish lying down anymore. Hindus have woken up. Hindus are clear.
Secularism is very pro-Hindu. I don't know why Mr. Ketkar is saying this. He wants secularism. I don't know why he's opposing it.
No, I am saying when Salman Khurshid's niece, right, tries to provoke Muslims asking for jihad, voto ki jihad. Is that all of this has happened after Indira Gandhi brought the word secularism. So his question is relevant. Were we more secular before this emergency or after emergency? During emergency, you brought in the word secularism.
Not just that. This idea of pan-Islamism, Sir Tan Se Juda mindset, all these things are actually emboldened. Why there was, so much of outrage.
Okay. Let's move fast. America responding. Last few minutes of the debate. America.
We are less secular the last decade than we had been ever before. The need for secularism...
Were we secular when Congress leaders massacred Sikhs in Delhi?
No, listen, if you want to talk, I just walk out. I don't interrupt you. Next time I interrupt you, I'll walk out.
Parliamentary amendment.
Okay, thank you, sir. Bye.
No, you don't have to run away. Shouldn't.
No, wait. He doesn't have to. No, you need to regulate your speakers.
If you don't have the guts to do it, let me just walk out.
No, but you didn't like my question. I got under your skin. I asked you a question. I asked you a question. Were Congress leaders, was Jagdish Titler secular when he was allegedly involved in massacring Sikhs? Was Jagdish Titler and the Congress secular?
I don't need to be here.
Was Jagdish Titler and the Congress secular? Was Jagdish Titler and the Congress secular? I'll ask the question 1,000 times. Were the Congress people who were involved in the 1984 massacre secular? I'll ask the question 1,000 times. You don't like it, but I'll repeat the question.
You just don't follow what you say.
I'm asking you the question. I follow and you follow, but you don't want to listen to what I'm saying because you're afraid of the question and the intensity with which it is asked.
And what's the point?
Then tell me today, was Jagdish Titler secular when he was massacring Sikhs? When Sikhs were being killed by Congress leaders, were those Congress leaders secular?
I don't need to be with you.
And Sonia Gandhi led UPA government giving an affidavit in the court to relieve him from all the accusations.
He's walked out of the debate, ladies and gentlemen. That's not secular to do either.
Well, let me take his place. I think he was raising some points of interest, and I would only ask Mr. Jain whether he is doing the right thing for his larger objective. For his larger objective, what you have been, I want to ask you, I'm not heckling you.
Arnab, can I respond?
For the larger objective,
can I ask a question to Mr. Rao? Arnab, can I ask a question to Mr. Rao?
Yeah, go on.
See, the point is this, Mr. Rao, I think send you, if I will have your number, I'll send you the constitution of AIMIM. Please read the constitution of AIMIM. Arnab, you'll be shocked to know the constitution of AIMIM. The entire constitution of that political party is formed on the basis of giving appeasement and benefits to the members of the Muslim community, no other section of the society. And then the party has given a declaration, Arnab, you will be shocked to know, under section 29A of the Representation of People Act, that we will follow the principles of socialism and secularism. How this is secular? Arnab, we are in a country where the governments have been dismissed on the principles of socialism and secularism. But when Ram Navami violence happened in West Bengal, nothing happened. We have seen the government, so many governments has been dismissed after Ayodhya judgment, after Ayodhya demolition on 6th December 1992.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a hot debate. I think, first of all, I'd correct myself for saying that petition was rejected. Let me say that what will happen on the 18th of November should be followed by everyone in the country. And let me also add that we need to debate whether we need the word secular separately within the Constitution when we are secular anyway.